Shalom. My name is Adam, and I welcome you to the parable of the Vineyard. Every day, Yahweh is waking up a remnant, a group of people who are coming out of deceptions, realizing our walk is to consist of faith and obedience to His righteous commands. Each week, we read through and examine a portion of the Torah, allowing the Spirit of the Most High to guide, teach, and open our eyes and ears to the wondrous matters out of His law. Join us as we seek to be refined by His Word, preparing ourselves for the return of our King of Kings, being faithful and obedient, walking in His way, truth, and life. Hey, Shabbat Shalom, brothers and sisters, and welcome to the Parable of the Vineyard. My name is Adam, and I welcome you. This is week 8 of our Torah portion study and reading, to which we're going to cover Genesis 32:3 through the end of chapter 36. As always, lots to cover, and hidden. There's some hidden gems in this Torah portion, especially don't leave early. Chapter 36 with the lineage of Esau. You're like, some people will be like, okay, whatever. Lineage of Esau. It sounds like a lot of great information for us today, Adam. But some of you that have been stuck around the last couple of years, you probably already know what I'm talking about. But some of you that may be new here, be like, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's interesting about the lineage of Esau in chapter 36. So stick around. Plus, I would love at the end, I'm going to share with you our new family pet. Some of you that stayed till the very end last week got to see Zacchaeus. So I'm going to introduce the new family pet, Zacchaeus, to you. And just want to make mention, Hebrew Fest coming up in a couple weeks. We'd love to see you all there. Just a couple days of camping and praising the Most High through worship music. Lyndon and Ruth will be there, Left and Right Ministries, and many other awesome brothers. Wes Blaze, who I love very much, and many others. So, J.O. So with that being said, let's get into the Torah portion because we have lots to cover. Just in case you're new and you're like, what are you doing here? Are you guys Jews? So no, we're followers of Messiah, and we just feel led to walk like Messiah walked according to the Torah. And so what we do is we take a portion from it each week. We read through it, examine it, discuss how, of course, there's in the Torah we have the do's and don'ts. You shall do this, you shall not do that. But we try to extract other things that can pertain to our life, spiritual meanings, how practical application for today, life lessons we learn, things like that. And so before we get into it, just want to share a couple of scriptures surrounding what we're doing here. And Psalm 1, 2 through 3 says, "But his delight," so the person who delights in the Torah of Yahweh, and in his law does he meditate day and night, he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water that brings forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatever he does shall prosper. I really do believe Messiah is also alludes to this in Matthew 7, where a good tree brings forth good fruit and a bad tree brings forth corrupt fruit. And so I believe this is the kind of fruit that we're supposed to inspect with each other. Adherence to the Torah, to the law, and of course, walking in the Spirit. Psalm 119, 165 says, "Great peace have they which love your law, your Torah, and nothing shall offend them." And these are the blessings we get by continuing to study His Torah, and not just study it, but actually do it. Because Romans 2:13 says, "For not the hearers of the law are just before Elohim, but the doers of the law, the Torah, shall be justified." John 4:23 through 24, this is Messiah speaking to the woman at the well, "But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers," I don't know about you, do you want to be a fake worshiper or a true worshiper? Obviously, I know the answer to that. We all want to be true worshipers. So when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeks such to worship Him. Elohim is a spirit, and they that worship Him, if they feel led, only if they feel led, worship Him. No, they must worship Him in spirit and truth. So what is spirit and truth? Well, at least let's talk about the truth part. Psalm 119, 142, "Your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law, your Torah, is the truth." So we must worship Him in the truth, according to the Torah, that He's basically said, hey, you want to serve me? He gave people free will. You don't want to serve me, you don't serve me. But if you want to serve me, you're going to do it my way. Psalm 119, 172, "My tongue shall speak of your word, for all your commandments are righteousness. So praise. Yeah. So with that being said, let's get into this week's Torah portion. Let's pray, let's blow a shofar, and let's get into it. Father Yahweh, we just come before you and bless you in Yahushua's name. Father, thank you for this special time each week, Father. This day, you picked the seventh day and set it apart from the rest, that this is the day, Father, that we have an appointment with you weekly. And oh, Father, how it is the best day of the week. Thank you so much. I'm sure we've all had our trials and testings and even just our daily labors, which can be tiresome. Thank you for giving us this day of rest each week. Messiah even says that you made this for us, as in the context of a gift. So thank you for this gift, O Yah. And we also know that you mark your people, those who keep your ways. And so, Father, I pray that you'd mark us, make your face shine upon us, and be gracious unto us, lift your countenance upon us, and give us shalom. And Father, help us as we read your word, that we may be found approved, that we may be found worthy at the return of Messiah Yahushua, to escape all these things that are coming to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. Hallelujah. Amen. Shofar. Praise Yah. Well, as you can see, the flicker is still in effect. I apologize. Okay, let's get into it. So we're going to hear the word audio, the dramatized audio of the Sefer that Jake and I felt led to do, and then we'll talk about chapter 33. So let's listen in. And Jacob sent messengers before him to Esau his brother, unto the land of Seir, the country of Edom. And he commanded them, saying,
Thus shall ye speak unto my lord Esau. Your servant Yaakov says thus, I have sojourned with Laban, and stayed there until now. And I have oxen and asses, flocks and men servants, and women servants. And I have sent to tell my lord, that I may find grace in your sight.
And the messengers returned to Jacob, saying,
We came to your brother Esau, and also he comes to meet you, and 400 men with him.
Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people that was with him, and the flocks, and the herds, and the camels into 2 bands, and said,
If Esau come to the one company, and smite it, then the other company which is left shall escape.
And Jacob said,
O Elohai of my father Abraham, and Elohai of my father Yitzhak, Yahuwah which said unto me, Return unto your country and to your kindred, and I will deal well with you. I am not worthy of the least of all the mercies, and of all the truth which you have showed unto your servant. For with my staff I passed over this Yarden, and now I am become 2 bands. Deliver me, I pray you, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, lest he will come and smite me, and the mother with the children. And you said, I will surely do you good, and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude.
And he lodged there that same night, and took of that which came to his hand a present for Esau his brother, 200 she-goats, and 20 he-goats, 200 ewes, and 20 rams, 30 milch camels with their colts, 40 kine, and 10 bulls, 20 she-asses, and 10 foals. And he delivered them into the hands of his servants, every drove by themselves, and said unto his servants,
Pass over before me, and put a space betwixt drove and drove.
And he commanded the foremost, saying,
When Esau my brother meets you, and asks you, saying, Whose are you, and where go you, and whose are these before you? Then you shall say, They be your servant Yaakov's. It is a present sent unto my lord Esau, and behold, also, he is behind us.
And so commanded he the second, and the third, and all that followed the drove, saying,
On this manner shall ye speak unto Esau when ye find him, and say ye moreover, Behold, your servant Yaakov is behind us.
For he said,
I will appease him with the present that goes before me, and afterward I will see his face. Perchance he will accept of me.
So went the present over before him, and himself lodged that night in the company. And he rose up that night, and took his 2 women, and his 2 women servants, and his 11 sons, and passed over the ford Yabok. And he took them, and sent them over the brook, and sent over that he had. And Jacob was left alone, and there wrestled a man with him until the breaking of the day. And when he saw that he prevailed not against him, he touched the hollow of his thigh, and the hollow of Jacob's thigh was out of joint, as he wrestled with him. And he said,
Let me go, for the day breaks.
And he said,
I will not let you go, except you bless me.
And he said unto him,
What is your name?
And he said,
Yaakov.
And he said,
Your name shall be called no more Yaakov, but Yasharel. For as a prince have you power with Elohim and with men, and have prevailed.
And Jacob asked him and said,
Tell me, I pray you, your name.
And he said,
Wherefore is it that you do ask after my name?
And he blessed them there. And Jacob called the name of the place Penuel.
For I have seen Elohim face to face, and my life is preserved.
And as he passed over Penuel, the sun rose upon him, and he halted upon his thigh. Therefore the children of Yashrael eat not the sinew which shrank, which is upon the hollow of the thigh unto this day, because he touched the hollow of Jacob's thigh in the sinew that shrank. Okay, praise, yeah. A lot happened in chapter 32 already. We've got a wrestling match going on, and Esau's coming. Jacob's afraid. So quite a bit to talk about here, and I think some things some really, really applicable things to our life right now that, on first glance you may not see it. But first off, I just want to remind you. We read it at the end of last week's Torah portion, just in case you didn't catch it. In Jasher 31, 53 through 77, it basically shows us, I'm not going to read the whole thing again, but just to recap, it basically shows that right after Jacob and Laban, after they had their covenant, they ate, and they had this deal like, hey, I won't harm you, don't harm me, all sorts of things. As soon as they finished here, and Esau basically told Laban told Esau basically a false story of what happened. Basically, he was taking some facts of what happened, but twisting the narrative and adding details and making Jacob seem worse, making the situation seem worse than it was. And that's actually what we see in a lot of. Some of you may have experienced this, that someone will retell something about your life, but they'll add things to it, or they'll just even directly lie about some of the things surrounding it, and just to try to give you a bad name. So anyways, if you're wondering how Esau knew that Jacob was leaving, it's because Laban went and sent messengers and said, hey, Jacob's coming, just so you know. He did a lot of bad things to me, and hey, if you want to kill him, this is where he is. Have a good day. And so this is what brought upon Esau coming with 400 men to kill Jacob. And Jacob was afraid. I mean, what would you do? What would you do if you're some of you? I know I've met some people out there that are like, I mean, what would happen if like an army of 400 trained soldiers were coming against you and your family? And it doesn't say how many men that Jacob had, but I think anyone would be like, oh no, what do I do? And so what we see though, and this is really the lesson to be learned, is that fear is something that we all experience, whether you want to say it or not. Now, it's what we do with that is really what shows who we are, and whether we actually have bravery or courage, or whether we really trust in Yah. Because for someone to say that, nothing fearful will ever come upon them, I think is honestly kidding themselves, because there's always going to be situations that can put you in anxiety or stress or fear. However, it's how we react is what is the difference. And as we see here, actually, let's see. Yeah, so it says Yaakov was greatly afraid and distressed. And so he made some physical provisions here. He divided the people that was with him and put them in two groups, which would make sense. If he goes after one group, the other group can escape. However, then what does Jacob do? Right? He turns to Yah, and he gives him reverence. He shares the issue. He shares the promise. And so this is something that is all over the scriptures. It's not limited to Jacob. There's some amazing prayers. There's amazing situations all through the scriptures where you see people are at impossible odds. Like there's no way, a few hundred men versus hundreds of thousands. It's like, what do we do but to turn to you, oh yeah. And so people like Hezekiah, Jehoshaphat, Elisha, Samuel, Gideon, many others had impossible odds, and they took that fear and gave it to Yah and said, "Hey, I'm just going to trust in you." And that's I think that's the kind of position that we need to be in. That it's like we trust in Yah no matter what, no matter the situation. So you think about the things that go on in your life and the trials, and you ask yourself if you really trust in Yah. But the point I want to make here is the prayer, is the petition to Yah, because it shows that we really trust Him. And what I find on almost all these great prayers by these great patriarchs is there's like a system, almost I guess a system or a sequence of events in the prayer that almost seem to all have the same thing. First, what they do is they come to Him and give Him reverence. You are the Elohim that created the world. You are the basically understanding His credibility, His power, His magnificence. It's like giving Him honor. Like, hey, you are, Father, I know that you are the El of you're the Most High. All things are under your hand. So number one, they give reverence. Number two, they acknowledge His might. You are the one that created all these things. Nothing is impossible for you, whatever it may be. So reverence, acknowledge His might, stating the situation, like the complaint, or this is what's going on. Proclaim the promises that Yah has given through His word, like no weapon formed against us shall prosper. Whatever scripture comes to mind that it pertains to the situation. Like, for example, like in our local assembly, if someone wants prayer, we get the elders together, we get some oil, and we anoint them, because James 5 says that when someone is sick, you call for the elders of the assembly, anoint their head with oil, pray over them, and they shall be healed. And so a lot of times when we're praying for people in that regard, I like to recite that prayer and say, Father, this is what your word says to do, and we are doing it, right? And so in some of these prayers, he's like right here, Jacob's like, and you said, I will surely do you good and make your seed as the sand of the sea, which cannot be numbered for multitude. And so he's basically saying like, hey, you said these things were going to happen. How can that happen if Esau is about to come destroy me? So it's not that Yah forgets and He needs a reminder. I think He wants us to know His word and what His word says to do, and to remind Him, hey, Father, you said this is what's going to happen. And a lot of times, like in my prayer, in the book of Isaiah, I think maybe at the end of 54 or 55 or somewhere around there, it says, basically His promise to us is that His word will not depart out of the mouth of our seed and our seed's seed. And so it's like when I'm praying for my children, I'm like, Father, you said that the word would not depart from my seed, and so it's like praying over my children. And then ask for deliverance. Like, Father, do this. Execute this for us. Now, when I'm saying execute, I'm not talking about like execute somebody. Father, please deliver us, in this way. So again, give reverence, acknowledge His might, state the situation, proclaim the promises that Yah has given through His word, and then ask for deliverance. And I'd like to just share one story of this. It's from 2 Chronicles 20. It's from during the reign of Jehoshaphat, a great king. And let's just read it. We're going to read 2 Chronicles 20, 1 through 24, and you'll kind of see the pattern. Remember, coming to Him in prayer, giving Him reverence, acknowledging His might, stating the situation, proclaiming the promises, asking for deliverance. Excuse me. So 2 Chronicles 20 says this. Now it came about after this that the sons of Moab and the sons of Ammon, together with some of the Ammonites, came to make war against Jehoshaphat. Then some came and reported to Jehoshaphat, saying, a great multitude is coming against you from beyond the sea, from Aram, and behold, they are in Chazan Tamar, that is En-Gedi. Jehoshaphat was afraid, so we see the same thing. This is a great king. David was afraid in certain situations. Like, we'll talk about that another time. But Jehoshaphat was afraid and turned his attention to seek Yahweh. So it's like we take that fear and we go straight to Him. Go to your prayer closet, whatever. And he proclaimed a period of fasting throughout Judah. So Judah gathered together to seek help from Yahweh. They even came from all the cities of Judah to seek Yahweh. Then Jehoshaphat stood in the assembly of Judah and Jerusalem in the house of Yahweh in front of the new courtyard, and he said, Yahweh, Elohim of our fathers, are you not Elohim in the heavens? Are you not ruler over all the kingdoms of the nations? Power and might are in your hand, so that no one can stand against you. Did you not, our Elohim, drive out the inhabitants of this land from your people Israel, and give it to the descendants of your friend Abraham forever? They have lived in it, and have built you a sanctuary in it for your name, saying, if disaster comes upon us, the sword or judgment or plague or famine, we will stand before this house and before you, for your name is in this house. Remember, his name is upon us now. And cry out to you in our distress, and you will hear and save us. So you see all the qualifiers, giving reverence, acknowledging his might, stating the situation, proclaiming his promises. Now, behold, the sons of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, whom you did not allow Israel to invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, for they turned aside from them and did not destroy them. See how they are rewarding us by coming to drive us out from your possession, which you have given us as an inheritance. Our Elohim, will you not judge them? So he's asking for deliverance, for we are powerless before this great multitude that is coming against us, nor do we know what to do, but our eyes are on you. I love this in prayer too. It's like my eyes are on you, O Yahweh. It's like I'm seeking you. You are the deliverer. You are the one who gave the promises, and you're the one who sees everything. My eyes are on you. Our hearts are fixed on you. So all Judah was standing before Yahweh with their infants, their wives, their children. Then in the midst of the assembly, the Spirit of Yahweh came upon Jahaziel, the son of Zechariah, the son of Benaiah, the son of Jeiel, the son of Mattaniah, the Levite of the sons of Asaph. And he said, listen, all of you Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem and King Jehoshaphat, this is what Yahweh says to you. Do not fear or be dismayed because of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours but Elohim's. Isn't that the same for today too? Tomorrow go down against them. Behold, they will come up by the ascent of Ziz, and you will find them at the end of the valley in front of the wilderness of Jeruel. You need not fight this battle. Take your position. Stand and watch the salvation of Yahweh in your behalf, Judah and Jerusalem. Do not fear or be dismayed tomorrow. Go out and face them, for Yahweh is with you. Jehoshaphat bowed his head with his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem fell down before Yahweh, worshiping Yahweh. The Levites from the sons of the Kohathites and from the sons of the Korites stood up to praise Yahweh, Elohim of Israel, with a very loud voice. They rose early in the morning and went out to the wilderness of Tekoa. And when they went out, Jehoshaphat stood and said, listen to me, Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem. Put your trust in Yahweh, your Elohim, and you will endure. Put your trust in his prophets and succeed. When he had consulted with the people, he appointed those who sang to Yahweh and those who praised him in holy attire as they went out before the army and said, so the musicians are up front, give thanks to Yahweh, for his faithfulness is everlasting. And then when they began singing and praising, Yahweh set ambushes against the sons of Ammon, Moab, and Mount Seir, who had come against Judah. So they were struck down. And I got to tell you, even today, it's like when things are hard, or, it's like, just stop, pray to him, right? If you're like, whatever you're struggling with, whether 10,000 are coming against you or 100,000, or whether you're just having a bad day at work and anger is coming upon you, whatever, massive situation or a minor situation. Sometimes those minor situations can turn into massive situations. Whatever you struggle with, whether it's lust or anger or whatever it is, you know you. I want to know you guys, and I'm getting to know some of you through the feast days and certain events, but you know you. Whatever you're struggling with, stop. If it's fear, stop and pray to Yah. If it's lust, before you commit that sin, stop and pray to Yah and ask him for help, right? And, even maybe turn on some praise and worship music. I'll tell you, when things get hard in this house, we just turn on Left and Right Ministries, Lennon and Ruth's music, and we just sit there and sing and pray. It's like we sing through it. And the battle is Yah's. It reminds me of Sukkot 21 when we had these massive storms and tornadoes all around us. Like a third of the camp left, and we stayed there. We stayed there, and we just Lyndon and Ruth just kept playing louder. We were blowing shofars louder, and he delivered us. And the storm went all the way around us. It was miraculous. And that's a small thing compared to what we're seeing here. So it says, for the sons of Ammon and Moab rose up against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, completely destroying them. And when they had finished with the inhabitants of Seir, they helped destroy one another. When Judah came to the watchtower of the wilderness, they turned toward the multitude, and behold, they were corpses lying on the ground, and there was no survivor. So just another story. And so going back to, of course, the Torah portion, Jacob is facing impossible odds, 400 trained warriors versus him and his wives, children, and a couple of servants. And so he turns to Yah and prays to Yah. And, of course, we know how the story ends. He delivers him. So hallelujah. So something very applicable to our lives, whatever we're going through. Again, if you're not remembering this order that we see time and time again in prayer, it's in the study notes. We'll have it in the description box below. So give reverence to him. You're the mighty one. Acknowledge his might. You're the one that created everything in 6 days and rested on the seventh, or whatever. You make it your own. It should be from your heart. It shouldn't be just copying what I'm saying. So give reverence, acknowledge his might, state the situation, proclaim his promises, ask for deliverance. And I believe, if it's according to his will, he'll deliver. Let's see. So we heard what happened here. The messengers went. Let's read a little bit in what happened a little more in Jasher. We get a little more detail. So Jasher 32, 7 through 26, and it says, "And those messengers went to Esau and found him on the borders of the land of Edom, going towards Jacob. And 400 men of the children of Seir the Horite were standing with drawn swords. And the messengers of Jacob told Esau all the words that Jacob had spoken to them concerning Esau. And Esau answered them with pride and contempt and said unto them, Surely I have heard, and truly it has been told to me what Jacob has done to Laban, who exalted him in his house and gave him his daughters for wives. And he begot sons and daughters, and abundantly increased in wealth and riches in Laban's house through his means. And when he saw that his wealth was abundant and his riches great, he fled with all belonging to him from Laban's house, and he led Laban's daughters away from the face of their father as captives taken by the sword without telling him of it." Now, what happened right here? Esau heard the gossip and slander against Jacob, took it right in, and just repeated it. And this happens in the Torah community and Christianity. I mean, this happens all the time. I mean, this is not even just limited to our walk, but it's something, unfortunately, that people in this walk are still doing. It's like if someone tells you something about somebody, especially someone close that you know, and they're like, "Hey, so-and-so is," and you're like, some people take it in and be like, "Oh, man, really? Oh, I can't believe that." Or, you take it in and say, "Okay, I hear you." I go to that person and say, "Hey, this is what I heard about you. Can you share? Is that true?" And you hear their side out, and like 9 times out of 10, it's like you just need to hear both. I mean, you always need to hear both sides. And so my point is Esau took in the slander against Jacob, and he's like all pride. Yep, this is what Jacob did. I'm coming to kill him. And not only to Laban has Jacob done this, but also unto me has he done so, and has twice supplanted me. And shall I be silent? Now therefore I have this day come with my camps to meet him, and I will do unto him according to the desire of my heart. And the messengers returned and came to Jacob, and said unto him, We came to your brother, to Esau, and we told him all your words. And thus has he answered us, and behold, he comes to meet you with 400 men. Now then know and see what you shall do, and pray before Elohim to deliver you from him. Good words. And when he heard the words of his brother, which he had spoken to the messengers of Jacob, Jacob was greatly afraid, and he was distressed. And Jacob prayed to Yahweh's Elohim, and he said, O Yahweh Elohim of my fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, you did say unto me when I went away from my father's house, saying, I am Yahweh Elohim of your father Abraham, and the Elohim of Isaac. Unto you do I give this land, and your seed after you, and I will make your seed as the stars of heaven, and you shall spread forth to the 4 sides of heaven, and in you and in your seed shall all the families of the earth be blessed. And you did establish your words, and did give unto me riches and children and cattle, as the utmost wishes of my heart did you give unto your servant. You did give me unto me all that I asked from you, and so that I lacked nothing. So also, probably another step in there, give reverence, acknowledge, thank even. So it's even thank you, thank you for this. And you did afterwards say unto me, return to your parents and to your birthplace, and I will still do well with you. And now that I have come, and you did deliver me from Laban, I shall fall into the hands of Esau, who will slay me, yea, together with the mothers of my children. Now therefore, O Yahweh Elohim, deliver me, I pray you, also from the hands of my brother Esau, for I am greatly afraid of him. And if there is no righteousness in me, do it for the sake of Abraham and my father Isaac. For I know that through kindness and mercy I have acquired this wealth. Now therefore I beseech you to deliver me this day with your kindness and to answer me. And Jacob ceased praying to Yahweh, and he divided the people that were with him with the flocks and the cattle into 2 camps, and he gave the half to the care of Damasek, the son of Eliezer, Abraham's servant, for a camp with his children, and the other half he gave to the care of his brother Elianis, the son of Eliezer, to be for a camp with his children. And he commanded them, saying, keep yourselves at a distance with your camps, and do not come too near each other. And if Esau come to one camp and slay it, the other camp at a distance from it will escape him. And Jacob tarried there that night, and during the whole night he gave his servants instructions concerning the forces and of his children. And Yahweh heard the prayer of Jacob on that day, and Yahweh delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esau, which we're going to find out exactly what that looked like here in just a sec. Now then, of course, we have Jacob wrestling the angel. Now, every year, the reason I do this every year is I'm learning too. I'll tell you, last year, those of you that were watching last year, I had concluded that possibly he was wrestling Michael the archangel, and part of the reason of that is because the Aramaic Targum said that. And then I, found other verses to kind of fit that narrative. As I mentioned at the beginning of this Torah portion cycle season, I'm not as into the Targums as I used to be. I still think they carry some amazing lessons to learn, specifically showing how clearly Messiah, pre-incarnate, so Messiah, the Son, before he came and became the Son physically on earth and did his ministry, I believe that he was interacting with all the patriarchs. I believe he was the one in the burning bush, which we're actually going to read that here in just a second. But my point is that the Targums, I also realize, has a lot of leaven from the Jews, and so I've kind of stepped back a little bit. I'll still kind of look at it from time to time, but anyways, so for those of you that watched last year, you're like, I said I thought it was Michael. I'm kind of back to, I do believe that it's perhaps Messiah, the angel of Yahweh, commonly known as the angel of the Lord. If you guys haven't seen that video, just type in the angel of YHWH, Parable of the Vineyard, and it's like 30-something minutes. I think it's imperative, not imperative. I think it's very, I think it's important to understand who Messiah is, his role that he had with the patriarchs, and as being, he's Elohim. He's the Son, but he's Elohim. He's the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I believe he's the one that came to Abraham and gave the covenant. I believe that, we won't get into that. So, but long story short, I do believe that this was Messiah. I believe he was wrestling the angel, not an angel, but the angel of Yahweh. The same angel we see in Revelation 10 that comes down with a rainbow over his head. His feet is burning like it's bronze, and he's got a scroll in his hand. Again, remember the scroll that only Messiah was able to open up. Okay, I'm getting a little off topic here. So it says, he wrestles with an angel, but it says he rose up that night, took 2 of his women, and then here, let's see. And it says, and there Yaakov was left alone, and there he wrestled a man with him. But we know that Jacob later on says, I have seen Elohim face to face. And so it made me think of Enoch 46, where Enoch sees the Father and the Son together. And it says, there I saw one who had a head of days, and his head was white like wool. That's the Father. And with him was another being whose countenance had the appearance of a man. So it says here, and Yaakov was left alone, and there he wrestled with a man. He had the appearance of a man, and his face was full of graciousness like one of the holy angels. And I asked the angel who went with me and showed me all the hidden things concerning that Son of Man, and who he was, and whence he was, and why he went with the head of days. And he answered and said to me, this is the Son of Man who has righteousness, with whom dwells righteousness, and who reveals all the treasures of that which is hidden, because Yahweh Sabaoth has chosen him, and whose lot has the preeminence before Yahweh Sabaoth and uprightness forever and ever. And it goes on, but I just wanted to share that part that it specifically said in Enoch that he had the appearance of a man and seemed to be different from the rest of the angels, though he was angelic-like because he's, an eternal being. That's why he's the angel of Yahweh, the messenger of Yahweh. Though Yahweh has many messengers, many angels, he's the one. And I also just want to kind of make mention real quick, along the same lines of praying to Yah. So it's like when we admit our weaknesses and our faults before Him. So it's like in the prayer earlier we saw Jehoshaphat. He's like, we have no chance, so our eyes are on you. That's kind of a state of weakness. He's mentioning his state of weakness to Yah. Also, how much more for us in our weaknesses that we carry. Father, I'm weak in this. I'm weak in this. Would you help me to make this a strength? So if you are, let me just read this. It's from the book of Elijah the prophet, and this is chapter 6, verses 4. It says, "If he were honest in acknowledging his weaknesses before Elohim, then would Yahweh make his weaknesses to become strengths unto him. But inasmuch as his heart remains stubborn and he repents not, he shall remain in his sin." So the point here is, though, if we are humble and meek enough to admit our faults before Yah and ask Him for change or for deliverance, He will. I'll give you an example. You may not be able to tell because of these videos and whatnot, but I'm pretty introverted guy. I'm actually usually pretty quiet, and I like to let other people talk more than me, but I've kind of come out of that a little bit over the years. I've kind of had to, but before I did ministry, public speaking was probably one of my greatest fears. And then I felt called to ministry, but when I felt called to ministry, I'm like, no way, I can't speak publicly. I mean, how can I do this? I was even scared to do a YouTube video, and anyways, prayed. Actually, before my first public speaking event in ministry, Jake Grant and we fasted for 7 days, just water. And every day I asked Yah to break me of it. And the event we did together was the 7th day, and I did my speech and did well, and I never turned back. And so it's like Yah delivered me that. So I admitted, Father, I have a weakness that I have. People call low self-esteem, whatever. I had social anxiety. I don't like any of those terms, but I suffered from a lot of those things. I cared way too much about what people thought of me, and because of that, it was crippling that I couldn't be in front of people because I'm like, everyone's judging me, and so that's just for my personal testimony, and it may seem like a small thing in your eyes, but for me, it was a miracle because I know how debilitating my social phobia was, and now I don't have it anymore. He literally took my weakness. And, well, I'll let others say if it's a strength or not. But, yeah, anyways. So let's keep going. And so, of course, they wrestle. And he touched the hollow of his thigh. Now, some people say that this sinew, it was the sciatic, the sciatic, not the nerve itself, but the sciatic tendon or whatnot. Any of you that out there has suffered from sciatic nerve pain, it's debilitating. But seek Yah on that if you have issues with that, and stretch. So then, of course, Jacob asks his name, and then the angel asks his name, and then this angel, which this angel had authority to change his name. It's another reason why I think it's Messiah now. But he renames him Israel or Yisrael or Yasharel. I've been testing this, and I do think that Dr. Pigeon may have it right here in the Sefer of Yasharel. And let me state my case here. Let's go to the word Israel, and so this is the Hebrew spelling of it. You have the Yod, Shin, Resh, Aleph, Lamed. And so, of course, they transliterate that as Yisrael, mostly because of these little nikudim. This is the vowel points, which were not added till very much later. And so let's take a look at the word, Jasher, but it's really Yashar, okay? And so you see you have the Yod, Shin, Resh. Yod, Shin, Resh. And then we know this is El. I mean, it's undisputed that the Aleph Lamed is El. Some say Al. I'm with El. So really, it's there's no debate of how this is pronounced. It's only debated how this part is pronounced. So, of course, common thought is Yisrael, but it's the same exact spelling as the word Yashar. Now, again, the only reason it's pronounced differently is because these little Nikodim here that were added by the Jews and the rabbis. So, to me, Yashar, makes sense, and grammatically it makes sense as well, because Yashar means to be upright. It was stated that he is upright, that we're to be upright before Elohim and upright before men. Some people say that. Let's see. That he was named this way because of wrestling. If it was the word wrestling, it comes from the word Naphtali, or even patal, to wrestle. Anyways, it's not a big deal. I'm just sharing with you why I think that Yasharel may be right, and I use them interchangeably. I sometimes say Israel, sometimes I say Yasharel, sometimes I say Yisrael. I definitely don't think it's a point of contention. People do make that a point of contention. Like, if you're not saying Yasharel, then you're this or that or whatever. But I'm just sharing with you, Adam, why do you say Yasharel instead of Israel? I think, to me, it makes sense. I also want to take a look at Exodus 3:1-8. Now Moshe kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Elohim, even Horeb. And the angel of Yahweh appeared unto him in a flame of fire out of the midst of a bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. And when Yahweh saw that he turned aside to see, Elohim called to him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here am I. He said, Draw not nigh hither, put off your shoes from off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Jacob. And so remember, this is the angel of Yahweh who was in the flame, and he says, I am the Elohim of your father, the Elohim of Abraham. So I believe Messiah is the I am. He is the Elohim. He is the one who was in covenant with the patriarchs. And if that sounds so foreign, consider the entire story of this whole Bible is kind of encapsulated here in Matthew 22. It says, Yahusha answered and spoke unto them again by parable. So this is a story that relates to the truth. It says, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a certain king which made a marriage for his son. So to me, this whole story is Yahweh, our heavenly Father, created this earth for his son and for his people, and that they would be together, and that we would all to be together as Echad. And that's what the Messiah's prayer in John 17. Powerful, right? That was Messiah's last prayer. It's like, with the disciples, it's like, I pray that you would be one as me and my Father are one, together, together. Anyways, so this angel of Yahweh is the Elohim of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He's the Elohim of Israel. Yasharel, sorry. Don't get mad at me. Anyways, it goes on to say, I am come down, right? This angel, I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians. Elohim himself. Elohim the Son. Praise Yah. Exodus 33:11, and Yahweh spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaks unto his friend. Now, I think sometimes where it says Yahweh, do you think it's talking about the Son? Because he is literally the mouthpiece of Yahweh. He's the image of Yahweh. And so I don't think it's out of the question for him to be designated as this. Because it says that he spake to him face to face, Moses face to face, right? And Genesis 32:30, Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen Elohim face to face. And then we know the scriptures say in John, was it John 1:18? It says, no one has ever seen the Father at any time. Messiah in John 6 something, 46 maybe, it says, no one has seen the Father at any time. Nobody. Let me check that. So that's John 6. I think it's 46. Let's see. Yeah, it says, not that any man has seen the Father. So no one. So Jacob didn't see the Father. Moses didn't see the Father. He saw Messiah. Okay, we're almost done with 32. So the sciatica or the whatever the connecting tendon there for the hip and the leg was shrunk. It says it's the sinew shrank, and so it seems very plausible that Jacob limped for the rest of his life, but it didn't keep him from being a mighty man. So praise Yah. All right, let's go on to 32. I probably could spend more time on 33 here, but let's keep going. Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 33. And Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came, and with him 400 men. And he divided the children unto Leah, and unto Rachel, and unto the 2 handmaids. And he put the handmaids and their children foremost, and Leah and her children after, and Rachel and Joseph hindermost. And he passed over before them, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times, until he came near to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, and embraced him, and fell on his neck, and kissed him, and they wept. And he lifted up his eyes, and saw the women and the children, and said,
Who are those with you?
And he said,
The children which Elohim has graciously given your servant.
Then the handmaidens came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near, and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near, and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. And he said,
What do you mean by all this drove which I met?
And he said,
These are to find grace in the sight of my master.
And Esau said,
I have enough. My brother, keep what you have unto yourself.
And Jacob said,
Nay, I pray you, if now I have found grace in your sight, then receive my present at my hand. For therefore I have seen your face, as though I had seen the face of Elohim, and you were pleased with me. Take, I pray you, my blessing that is brought to you, because Elohim has dealt graciously with me, and because I have enough.
And he urged him, and he took it, and said,
Let us take our journey, and let us go, and I will go before you.
And he said unto him,
My Lord knows that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds with the young are with me. And if men should overdrive them one day, all the flock will die. Let my Lord, I pray you, pass over before his servant, and I will lead on softly, according as the cattle that goes before me, and the children be able to endure, until I come unto my Lord, unto Seir.
And Esau said,
Let me now leave you with some of the folk that are with me.
And he said,
What needs it? Let me find grace in the sight of my master.
So Esau returned that day on his way unto Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Sukkot, and built him a house, and made Sukkot for his cattle. Therefore the name of the place is called Sukkot. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padan Aram, and pitched his tent before the city. And he bought a parcel of a field, where he had spread his tent at the hand of the children of Hamor, Shechem's father, for 100 pieces of money. And he erected there an altar, and called it El Elohai Yasharel. Praise Yah. So we can see it's very scriptural to name things. I like naming things. We actually we got a present for my youngest daughter, Madeline, who's 5, and she got a new baby ewe lamb, and she named her, and it was really exciting for her to name. My daughter loves flamingos, and so she named her new baby ewe lamb Mingo. So we have Mingo. That's not actually the family pet I'm going to introduce to you. I need to introduce to you guys Zacchaeus. So stay till the end if you want to meet Zacchaeus. Just something I wanted to point out. Just that, they bowed themselves. So Jacob, he was, let's see, it said he was bowing down himself. So it's 7 times somewhere. Yeah. So, and bowed himself to the ground 7 times. We saw this with Abraham when he was trying to buy that piece of land. He said he bowed himself to the people of the land. It's like even with sinful people, it's like they're still humble and meek. And I just, Christianity, it's so taught to like just scream and yell at people with sinful behaviors and whatnot. It's just like, man, I just don't think we're going to catch any fish that way, to be honest with you. So just humble attitude. Let's say Shechem. I want to show you. I like just showing historical pictures. So those of you know the scriptures. You remember Mount Ebal and Mount Gerizim when they're coming towards the end of the wilderness experience. But this is the city of Shechem. This is where Jacob's well. This is where Messiah was talking to the woman from Samaria, Sychar. This is obviously what it looks like now, but I don't know. I like stuff like this. But the question I had is like, hold on a second. Why is Esau so friendly? Obviously, Yah heard the prayer of Jacob. It says so. But like, what happened? Did he just like flip a switch? And is Esau like a robot? He's like, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, I'm not gonna kill him. I love him, right? To me, I'm like, there's probably more to that, and obviously there is more in the book of Jasher. Yashar gives us the information. So Jasher 32:27-40 says, and Yahweh heard the prayer of Jacob on that day. Praise Yah. And Yahweh then delivered Jacob from the hands of his brother Esau. And Yahweh sent 3 angels of the angels of heaven, and they went before Esau and came to him. And these angels appeared unto Esau and his people as 2,000 men riding upon horses, furnished with all sorts of war instruments. And they appeared in the sight of Esau and all his men to be divided into 4 camps, with 4 chiefs to them. And one camp went on, and they found Esau coming with 400 men towards his brother Jacob. And this camp ran towards Esau and his people and terrified them. And Esau fell off the horse in alarm, and all his men separated from him in that place, for they were greatly afraid. And the whole of the camp shouted after them when they fled from Esau. And all the warlike men answered, saying, Surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Elohim, and who then can stand against us? And Esau said unto them, Oh, then my lord and brother Jacob is your lord, whom I have not seen for these 20 years, and now that I have this day come to see him, do you treat me in this manner? And the angels answered him, saying, As Yahweh lives, were not Jacob, of whom you speak, your brother, we had not let one remaining from you and your people, but only on account of Jacob we will do nothing to them. And this camp passed from Esau and his men, and it went away, and Esau and his men had gone from them about a league, when the second camp came towards him with all sorts of weapons, and they also did unto Esau and his men as the first camp had done to them. And when they had left it to go on, behold, the third camp came towards him, and they were all terrified. And Esau fell off the horse, and the whole camp cried out and said, Surely we are the servants of Jacob, who is the servant of Elohim, and who can stand against us? And Esau again answered them, saying, Oh, then Jacob, my master, and your master is my brother, and for 20 years I have not seen his countenance. And hearing this day that he was coming, I went this day to meet him. Do you treat me in this manner? And they answered him and said to him, As Yahweh lives, were not Jacob your brother, as you did say? We had not left a remnant from you and your men. But on account of Jacob, of whom you speak being your brother, we will not meddle with you or your men. And the third camp also passed from them, and he still continued his road with his men towards Jacob. When the fourth camp came towards him, and they also did unto him as his men, and his men as the others had done. And when Esau beheld the evil which the 4 angels had done to him and to his men, he became greatly afraid of his brother Jacob, and he went to meet him in peace. And Esau concealed his hatred against Jacob because he was afraid of his life on account of his brother Jacob, and because he imagined that the 4 camps that he had lighted upon were Jacob's servants. So, praise Yah. That's how Yah delivered. I like it. I think it's a smooth move. One other thing I want to just point out here is, I think it's kind of timely for us. So with Jacob, you see, of course, that he took his fear and his anxiety and gave it to Yah. He's like, I trust in you, and as Jehoshaphat said, our eyes are on you. But Jacob, you also see alongside his faith, he made some physical preparations. Of course, he put the servants first, not judging. I'm just recalling what he did. He put all the servants first, and then behind him was the concubines and wives and the sons, and then it was Leah and her sons, and then it was Rachel and her sons, like in different stages. So it's like he made, and of course we saw that he pulled them into 2 different groups, and so Jacob made also physical preparations alongside of his faith. So it's like, it reminds me of like another basic principle is like if we're sick, we pray to Yah for healing, But if we know that there's herbs of the earth that he's made that helps with natural healing or pain or whatever, why forsake those, right? So it's faith and obedience, right? It's physical and it's not spiritual. That makes sense. It's not just spiritual. It's not just physical. It's physical and spiritual. Just like it's not just truth. It's not just spirit. It's spirit and truth. So anyway, my point is that people that do make physical preparations, I think people can go overboard, making physical preparations for the times we're living in, the days ahead. But really, if our trust is in those physical preparations, you're wrong. And I'm not going to say you're wrong to just trust in Yah and not making any physical preparations. I wouldn't dare say that, but I see the scriptures over and over. We see that trust in Yah, but also make physical preparations as well. It's like your faith is, I don't know, faith meets action, if that makes sense. So not a whole lot in 33 to discuss, but I definitely wanted to share why Esau changed his mind so quickly. I thought that was kind of interesting. Let's go to 34. Bereshit, Genesis chapter 34. And Dinah, the daughter of Leah, which she bore unto Jacob, went out to see the daughters of the land. And when Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, prince of the country, saw her, he took her and lay with her and defiled her. And his soul clave unto Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, and he loved the damsel, and spoke kindly unto the damsel. And Shechem spoke unto his father Hamor, saying,
Get me this damsel to be my woman.
And Jacob heard that he had defiled Dinah his daughter. Now his sons were with his cattle in the field, and Jacob held his peace until they were come. And Hamor, the father of Shechem, went out unto Jacob to commune with him. And the sons of Jacob came out of the field when they heard it, and the men were grieved, and they were very wroth, because he had wrought folly in Yashrael, in lying with Jacob's daughter, which thing ought not to be done. And Hamor communed with them, saying,
The soul of my son Shechem longs for your daughter. I pray you, give her him to be his woman. And make ye marriages with us, and give your daughters unto us, and take our daughters unto you. And ye shall dwell with us, and the land shall be before you. Dwell and trade ye therein, and get you possessions therein.
And Shechem said unto her father, and unto her brethren,
Let me find grace in your eyes, and what ye shall say unto me I will give. Ask me never so much dowry and gift, and I will give according as ye shall say unto me. But give me the damsel to be my woman.
The sons of Jacob answered Shechem and Hamor his father deceitfully, and said, Because he had defiled Dinah their sister. And they said unto them,
We cannot do this thing, to give our sister to one that is uncircumcised, for that were a reproach unto us. But in this we will consent unto you, if ye will be as we be, that every male of you be circumcised. Then will we give our daughters unto you, and we will take your daughters unto us, and we will dwell with you, and we will become one people. But if ye will not hearken unto us to be circumcised, then we will take our daughter, and we will be gone.
And their words pleased Hamor and Shechem, Hamor's son. And the young man deferred not to do the thing, because he had delight in Jacob's daughter, and he was more honorable than all his father's house. And Hamor and Shechem his son came unto the gate of their city, and communed with the men of their city, saying,
These men are peaceable with us, therefore let them dwell in the land, and trade therein. For the land, behold, it is large enough for them. Let us take their daughters to us for women, and let us give them our daughters.
Only herein will the men consent unto us, for to dwell with us, to be one people, if every male among us be circumcised as they are circumcised.
Shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours? Only let us consent unto them, and they will dwell with us.
And unto Hamor and unto Shechem his son hearkened all that went out of the gate of his city, and every male was circumcised, all that went out of the gate of his city. And it came to pass on the third day, when they were sore, that the two sons of Jacob, Shimon and Levi, Dinah's brethren, took each man his sword, and came upon the city boldly, and slew all the males. And they slew Hamor and Shechem his son with the edge of the sword, and took Dinah out of Shechem's house, and went out. The sons of Jacob came upon the slain and spoiled the city, because they had defiled their sister. They took their sheep and their oxen and their asses, and that which was in the city, and that which was in the field, and all their wealth, and all their little ones, and their women they took captive, and spoiled even all that was in the house. And Jacob said to Shimon and Levi,
Ye have troubled me to make me to stink among the inhabitants of the land, among the Canaanim and the Perizim, and I being few in number, they shall gather themselves together against me and slay me, and I shall be destroyed, I and my house.
and they said,
Should he deal with our sister as with a harlot?
Okay, wow. So 2 men, Shimon and Levi, destroy an entire city. Doesn't say exactly how many, but quite a few. Obviously, lots of discussion about this over the years. Were they justified in this? Were they not? Some things to discuss here. First of all, I just want to point out that their motive right here for doing this, of being circumcised and getting Dinah, it wasn't just about her beauty, but it says, shall not their cattle and their substance and every beast of theirs be ours, right? Only let us consent to them, they will dwell with us, and basically intermarry, and we're going to swallow up all their wealth. And consider how much wealth he had. If Jacob only gave Esau a portion, I mean, remember, he gave over 200 female sheep. Let's see. What did he give here? Where was it? Yeah, here we go. 200 she-goats, 20 rams, basically, 200 ewes, 20 rams. I'm sorry, I meant to say he-goats. I meant to say ram. That's, yeah. So yeah, 200 she-goats, 20 goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams. And this is just a portion of what he had. I mean, what did he have? Tens of thousands of animals? Probably tens of thousands of animals, probably like Job style, right? And so imagine them seeing him. They're like, whoa, look at his flock, And so they wanted it. And anyways, we're going to learn a little more information, because some people point at Levi and Simeon as being evil for doing this. And I would like to share this. It is the Testament of Levi, chapter 2, verses chapter 3:12. So it says, now therefore know that Yahweh shall, and by the way, if you're like, what's the Testament of Levi? This is the last words of Levi, the patriarch. And this was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls, which doesn't mean automatically it's good, because not everything in the Dead Sea Scrolls is scripture. But with the credibility of this, plus actually just testing it against the scriptures, I find this to be a true book. So it says, now therefore know that Yahweh shall execute judgment upon the sons of men, because when the rocks are being rent, and the sun quenched, and the waters dried up, and the fire cowering, and all creation troubled, and the invisible spirits melting away, and Hades takes spoils through the visitations of the Most High, men will be unbelieving and persist in their iniquity. Sounds a lot like, as in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the coming of the Son of Man, which we're going to talk about at the end here. On this account, with punishment shall they be judged. Therefore the Most High has heard your prayer to separate you from iniquity, and that you should become to him a son, and a servant, and a minister of his presence. The light of knowledge shall you light up in Jacob, and as the sun shall you be to all the seed of Israel. And there shall be given to you a blessing, and to all your seed, until Yahweh shall visit all the Gentiles in his tender mercies forever. And therefore there have been given to you counsel and understanding, that you might instruct your sons concerning this. Because they that bless him shall be blessed, and they that curse him shall perish. And thereupon the angel opened to me the gates of heaven, and I saw the holy temple, and upon a throne of glory the Most High. And he said to me, Levi, I have given you the blessing of the priesthood until I come and sojourn in the midst of Israel. Then the angel brought me down to the earth, and gave me a shield and a sword, and said to me, execute vengeance on Shechem because of Dinah thy sister. So this was commanded in heaven. Execute vengeance on Shechem because of Dinah thy sister, and I will be with you, because Yahweh has sent me. And I destroyed at that time the sons of Hamor, as it is written in the heavenly tables. And I said to him, I pray to you, O Yahweh, tell me your name, that I may call upon you in the day of tribulation. And he said, I am the angel who intercedes for the nation of Israel, that they may not be smitten utterly for every evil spirit that attacks it. And after these things I awaked and blessed the Most High and the angel who interceded for the nation of Israel and for all the righteous. And when I was going to my father, I found a brazen shield, wherefore also the name of the mountain is Aspis, which is near Gibal, to the south of Abila. And I kept these words in my heart, and after this I counseled my father and Reuben my brother to bid the sons of Hamor not to be circumcised, for I was zealous because of the abomination which they had wrought on my sister. And I slew Shechem first, and Shimeon slew Hamor. And after this my brothers came and smote that city with the edge of the sword. And my father heard these things and was wroth, and he was grieved in that they had received the circumcision, and after that had been put to death. And in his blessings he looked amiss upon us. For we sinned because we had done this thing against his will, and he was sick on that day. But I saw that the sentence of Elohim was for evil upon Shechem. Listen to this. This is more context that we just don't get in other places. For they sought to do to Sarah and Rebekah as they had done to Dinah our sister, but Yahweh prevented them. And they persecuted Abraham our father when he was a stranger, and they vexed his flocks when they were big with young. And Eblaim, who was born in his house, they most shamefully handled. And thus they did to all strangers, taking away their wives by force, and they banished them. But the wrath of Yahweh came upon them to the uttermost. Reminds us, of course, of what we learned through Sodom and Gomorrah. They were absolutely destroyed, and that was one of the major things they did. They took away the wives from their husbands, and they killed the husbands. And I said to my father Jacob, by thee will Yahweh despoil the Canaanites, and will give their land to you and to your seed after you. From this day forward shall Shechem be called a city of imbeciles. For as a man mocks a fool, so did we mock them. Because also they had wrought folly in Yasharel, Israel, by defiling my sister, and we departed and came to Bethel. Also, homework time. Yeah. If you'd like to learn the entire, there's a lot actually to this whole Shechem story, but I don't think I'm going to read it this time. You basically want to read all of Jasher 33, pretty much to the end of 34. It's a lot to read. It's a really long passage, but I can give you the short version. It just details Levi and Simeon going into the city and killing people. There was 20 mighty men that resisted them, that didn't get circumcised because they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do this. And they fought a great battle. Most of them were killed. A few of them escaped, and those escapees went to the other cities of the Canaanites and were like, hey, we got to do this. We got to get these guys. And so like 5 nations of the Canaanites come up against Jacob and his sons, and it was just them, just Jacob and his sons and the few servants versus like, it doesn't say a number, but it was like 5 nations came against them. And basically Jacob prayed, and all the counselors for those 5 kings basically were frightened and like, are you kidding me? You're going to go fight them? Only 2 of their sons went in and killed the whole city. Now all of them, you want to fight all of them? Yeah, right. You guys are crazy. And they recount all the different stories that they've heard about the Israelites and how their Yah loves them so much. And so they go away, but then they come back again, and then they get annihilated by, or not completely destroyed, but greatly reduced numbers. Jacob and his sons kill quite a few of them, and that's why we'll see a little bit later that as they traveled, none of the cities around them messed with them, because we don't get that context, but Jasher talks about it. So for those of you that want to learn a little more, read Jasher 33 through all the way through 34, and you'll get a little more about what happened at Shechem. But definitely wanted to read Testament of Levi for you. So with that, let's read 35. Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 35. And Elohim said unto Jacob,
Arise, go up to Bethel, and dwell there, and make there an altar unto Elohim, that appeared unto you when you fled from the face of Esau your brother.
Then Jacob said unto his household, and to all that were with him,
Put away the strange Elohai that are among you, and be clean, and change your garments, and let us arise, and go up to Bethel, and I will make there an altar unto Elohim, who answered me in the day of my distress, and was with me in the way which I went.
And they gave unto Jacob all the strange Elohai which were in their hand, and all their earrings which were in their ears. And Jacob hid them under the oak which was by Shechem. And they journeyed, and the terror of Elohim was upon the cities that were round about them, and they did not pursue after the sons of Jacob. So Jacob came to Luz, which is in the land of Canaan, that is, Beit El, he and all the people that were with him. And he built there an altar, and called the place Beit El, because there Elohim appeared unto him, when he fled from the face of his brother. But Deborah, Ribkah's nurse, died, and she was buried beneath Beit El under an oak, and the name of it was called Alon Bakut. And Elohim appeared unto El Jacob again, when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And Elohim said unto him,
Your name is Yaakov. Your name shall not be called any more Yaakov, but Yasharel shall be your name.
And he called his name Yasharel. And Elohim said unto him,
I am El Shaddai. Be fruitful and multiply. A nation and a company of nations shall be of you, and kings shall come out of your loins. And the land which I gave Abraham and Yitzhak, to you I will give it, and to your seed after you will I give the land.
And Elohim went up from him in the place where he talked with him. And Jacob set up a pillar in the place where he talked with him, even a pillar of stone. And he poured a drink offering thereon, and he poured oil thereon. And Yaakov called the name of the place where Elohim spoke with him, Beit El. And they journeyed from Beit El, and there was but a little way to come to Ephratah. And Rachel travailed, and she had hard labor. And it came to pass, when she was in hard labor, that the midwife said unto her,
Fear not, you shall have this son also.
And it came to pass, as her soul was in departing, for she died, that she called his name Ben-Oni. But his father called him Benjamin. And Rachel died, and was buried in the way to Ephratah, which is Beit Lechem. And Jacob set a pillar upon her grave, that is the pillar of Rachel's grave unto this day. And Yasharel journeyed, and spread his tent beyond Migdal Eder. And it came to pass, when Yasharel dwelt in that land, that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah his father's concubine, and Yasharel heard it. Now the sons of Jacob were 12, the sons of Leah, Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, and Shimon, and Levi, and Yehudah, and Issachar, and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Yosef, and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's handmaid, Dan, and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's handmaid, Gad, and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob, which were born to him in Padan Aram. And Yaakov came unto El Yitzchak his father, unto Mamre, unto Kiryat Arba, which is Hebron, where Abraham and Yitzchak sojourned. And the days of Yitzchak were 180 years. And Yitzchak gave up his ruach and died, and was gathered unto his people, being old and full of days. And his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Okay, unfortunately, Isaac's time has run out here in our Torah portions. Very sad. But, yeah, willing, we'll see him in the kingdom. Praise, yeah. So going back up here, it makes you kind of wonder. It's like, at least for me, it says, Then Yaakov said to his household and to all that were with him, Put away the strange gods that are among you, and be clean and change your garments. Let us arise, go up to Beit El. And then it goes on to say here, all the strange gods which were in their hand, all their earrings which were in their ears. And so it's like, where did you get these? The Aramaic does say that these came from after they spoiled the city. They took all their jewelry and whatnot, which had dedications to all their idols. So if that's true or not, again, I'm taking a much more distant approach from with the Aramaic. But when there's strange passages like this, and the Masoretic doesn't say anything specific, or the Septuagint, sometimes I just like to take a peek and be like, It's almost the same way. Like, I don't like to read Bible scholar commentary because I'd rather all the understanding just come from the Ruach and the Word itself. But sometimes there's some things that we just don't understand in our time frame, and I'm just like, okay, what do the scholars say over the years? Just curious. And sometimes, what they say is like, what, that makes a lot of sense. Sometimes we may not understand context because of the time frame that we've been living in. And so, yeah, actually, homework, Jasher 33 all the way to 35:25. goes into a lot more detail of what's going on here. But let's get to this really interesting passage about, it just mentions it and moves on. It says, and it came to pass when Yasharel dwelt in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Yasharel heard it. And so you're like, okay, so Reuben slept with his dad's wife, one of his wives, and then just, okay, what do we do with that? I think this brings up an amazing opportunity to talk about lust. And if you haven't read the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs, highly recommend it. I do believe that they are inspired. We did do a 12-part series on them with a study for each one, a good hour and a half study on each one of those books. So if you want to learn that, I would highly recommend it, because what you find in the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs is the how. And when I say the how, it's like the Bible tells you not to lust. And then you don't get too many detailed descriptions of how. Like, how do I escape lust? Do I just pray it away? I mean, what do I do? Well, the Testament of the 12 Patriarchs tells us how to escape these fruits of the flesh, lust, anger, pride, jealousy, envy, a lot of these things, double-mindedness. So specifically with Reuben, lust. So let's read a little bit of the Testament of Reuben. It goes over this situation we just read about in more detail. And another thing, since this is almost all we get from Reuben, other than maybe he kind of had Joseph's back a little bit, when in the next couple Torah portions we read, we see that kind of he has Joseph's back and didn't want him to die, didn't want him to be sold. So we do see some good characteristics there, but really his character is totally tainted by this act, and understandably so. But there's more to the story, and I want it to be heard. And so here we go. Testament of Reuben, chapter 1. The copy of the Testament of Reuben, even the commands which he gave his sons before he died in the 125th year of his life. 2 years after the death of Joseph his brother, when Reuben fell ill, his sons and his sons' sons were gathered together to visit him. And he said to them, My children, behold, I am dying, and go the way of my fathers. And seeing there Judah and Gad and Asher his brethren, he said to them, Raise me up, that I may tell to my brethren and to my children what things I have hidden in my heart. For behold, now at length I am passing away. And he arose and kissed them, and said unto them, Hear, my brethren, and do ye, my children, give ear to Reuben your father, in the commands which I give unto you. And behold, I call to witness against you this day, the Elohim of heaven, that ye walk not in the sins of youth and fornication, wherein I was poured out. Basically, he's like, I failed, and defiled the bed of my father Jacob. And I tell you that he smote me with a sore plague in my loins for 7 months, and had not my father Jacob prayed for me to Yahweh, Yahweh would have destroyed me. For I was 30 years old when I wrought the evil thing before Yahweh, and for 7 months I was sick unto death. And after this I repented with Now here, so obviously he struggled with lust. He had sex with his mother-in-law. And so here we go. And after this I repented with set purpose of my soul for 7 years before Yahweh. So now we're starting to see a little more of Reuben, who he is. And wine and strong drink I drank not, and flesh entered not into my mouth. And I ate no pleasant food, but I mourned over my sin, for it was great, such as had not been in Israel. And now hear me, my children, what things I saw concerning the 7 spirits of deceit when I repented. 7 spirits therefore are appointed against man, and they are the leaders in the works of youth. And 7 other spirits are given to him at his creation, that through them should be done every work of man. This is the first spirit of life, with which is the constitution of man is created. The second is the sense of sight, with which arises desire. The third is the sense of hearing, with which comes teaching. The fourth is the sense of smell, with which tastes are given to draw air and breath. The fifth is the power of speech, with which comes knowledge. The sixth is the sense of taste, with which comes the eating of meats and drinks, and by it strength is produced, for in food is the foundation of strength. The seventh is the power of procreation and sexual intercourse, with which through love of pleasure sins enter in. Wherefore it is the last in order of creation, and the first in that of youth, because it is filled with ignorance, and leads the youth as a blind man to a pit, and as a beast to a precipice. Besides all these, there is an 8th spirit of sleep, with which is brought about the trance of nature and of death. With these spirits are mingled the spirits of error. First, the spirit of fornication is seated in the nature and in the senses. The second, the spirit of insatiableness in the belly, like insatiable is unable to be satisfied. So it's like a overeater, gluttonous. The third, the spirit of fighting in the liver and gall. This is why people that struggle with anger typically have liver and gall issues. The fourth is the spirit of obsequiousness and chicanery. This is like fakery. This is like people who act fake and over, that through officious attention, one may be fair in seeming. This is someone who just fake. The fifth is the spirit of pride, that one may be boastful and arrogant. The sixth is a spirit of lying in perdition and jealousy, to practice deceits and concealments from kindred and friends. The seventh is the spirit of injustice, with which are thefts and acts of rapacity, that a man may fulfill the desire of his heart, for injustice works together with the other spirits by the taking of gifts. And with all these, the spirit of sleep is joined, which is that of error and fantasy. And so perishes every young man, darkening his mind from the truth, and not understanding the law, the Torah of Elohim, nor obeying the admonitions of his fathers, as befell me also in my youth. And now, my children, love the truth, and it will preserve you. Hear the words of Reuben your father. Pay no heed to the face of a woman, nor associate with another man's wife, nor meddle with affairs of womankind. For had I not seen Bilhah bathing in a covered place, I had not fallen into this great iniquity. For my mind, taking in the thought of the woman's nakedness, suffered me not to sleep until I had wrought the abominable thing. And so those of you out there, men or women who struggle with lust, don't let your eyes even peep these things. You may be looking for something online and in pictures, and it's like you scroll and you're like, oh, if you're like researching something and you see something, it's like, don't even look. And even out in public, if you're driving and you see someone, it's like, I can only relate to men. So like men, if you see this woman and she's dressed immodestly, I know in my former life, I'm just going to be honest, in my former life, I would stare, right? I'm like, oh, but in my new life that I have now, it's like, if your eyes even see, it's like, no, I won't take it in. So it says, for had I not seen Bilhah, right? For my mind taking in the thought of the woman's nakedness suffered me not to sleep until I had wrought the abominable thing. And this is why we have to guard our eyes, guard our ears, and guard our hearts, because it enters in. That's what Messiah says, the light of the body is the eye. And if your eye be single, hallelujah. But if your eye be full of darkness, how great is that darkness? And so basically he's giving us advice. Don't even see it. Like if you accidentally see something, like don't repent, ask Yah to take it out of your mind, whatever. But don't allow it to sneak in, to creep in. For while Jacob our father had gone to Isaac his father, when we were in Eder, near Ephratah to Bethlehem, Bilhah became drunk and was asleep uncovered in her chamber. Having therefore gone in and beheld her nakedness, I wrought the impiety without her perceiving it, and leaving her asleep departed. And forthwith an angel of Elohim revealed to my father concerning my impiety, and he came and mourned over me and touched her no more. We're going to read through chapter 2, verse 12. Pay no heed, therefore, my children, to the beauty of women, nor set your mind on their affairs, but walk in the singleness of heart, in the fear of Yahweh, and expend labor on good works, and on study and on your flocks, until Yahweh give you a wife, whom he will, that you suffer not as I did. For until my father's death, I had not boldness to look in his face, or to speak to any of my brethren because of the reproach. Even until now, my conscience causes me anguish on account of my impiety. And yet my father comforted me much, and prayed for me and unto Yahweh, that the anger of Yahweh might pass from me, even as Yahweh showed. You can just see the tender, kind, compassion, mercy that Jacob also bestowed. And thenceforth until now, I have been on my guard and sinned not. So look at this. So he learned. So it's like the only image we get of Reuben is he's just this disgusting man. But no, that's not true. He messed up bad, really bad. But he was on guard and sinned not after that. Just like David, he a great man. He messed up big time, but he repented with all his heart, right? Therefore, my children, I say unto you, observe all things whatsoever I command you, and ye shall not sin. For a pit unto the soul is the sin of fornication, separating it from Elohim and bringing it near to idols, because it deceives the mind and understanding, and leads down young men into Hades before their time. For many has fornication destroyed, because though a man be old or noble or rich or poor, he brings reproach upon himself with the sons of men and derision with Beliar, Satan. For ye heard regarding Joseph how he guarded himself from a woman and purged his thoughts from all fornication and found favor in the sight of Elohim and men. Right? For the Egyptian woman did many things unto him, and summoned magicians, and offered him love potions, but the purpose of his soul admitted no evil desire. Therefore the Elohim of your fathers delivered him from every evil and hidden death. For if fornication overcomes not your mind, neither can Beliar overcome you. Hallelujah. Testing the 12 patriarchs, y'all. All right, let's get to the last chapter now. You may think this is boring, Esau's descendants. Ha ha ha. Think again. We're gonna hear 36, and then I've got just a few things to discuss, and our Torah portion will be concluded for this week. Praise Yah. Bereshit, Genesis, chapter 36. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. Esau took his woman of the daughters of Canaan, Ada, the daughter of Elon the Hittite, and Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Tzibon the Hittite, and Basemat, Ishmael's daughter, sister of Nebaioth. And Ada bore to Esau Eliphaz, and Basmat bore Reuel, and Aholibama bore Yaish, and Ya'alam, and Korach. These are the sons of Esau, which were born unto him in the land of Canaan. And Esau took his women, and his sons, and his daughters, and all the persons of his house, and his cattle, and all his beasts, and all his substance, which he had got in the land of Canaan, and went into the country from the face of his brother Jacob. For their riches were more than they might dwell together, and the land wherein they were strangers could not bear them because of their cattle. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom. And these are the generations of Esau, the father of the Edomim, in Mount Seir. These are the names of Esau's sons: Eliphaz, the son of Ada, the woman of Esau; Reuel, the son of Basemat, the woman of Esau. And the sons of Eliphaz were Timan, Omar, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. And Timnah was the concubine to Eliphaz, Esau's son, and she bore to Eliphaz Amalek. These are the sons of Ada, Esau's woman. And these are the sons of Reuel, Nachat, and Zerach, Shammah, and Mizah. These are the sons of Basemat, Esau's woman. And these were the sons of Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, the daughter of Tzibon, Esau's woman. And she bore to Esau Yaish, and Ya'alam, and Korach. These were the dukes of the sons of Esau. The sons of Eliphaz, the firstborn son of Esau: Duke Timan, Duke Omar, Duke Zepho, and Duke Kenaz, Duke Korach, Duke Gatam, and Duke Amalek. These are the dukes that came of Eliphaz in the land of Edom. These were the sons of Ada. And these are the sons of Reuel, Esau's son: Duke Nachat, Duke Zerach, Duke Shammah, Duke Mizah. These are the dukes that came of Reuel in the land of Edom. These are the sons of Basemat, Esau's woman. And these are the sons of Aholibama, Esau's woman: Duke Yaish, Duke Ya'alam, Duke Korach. These are the dukes that came of Aholibama, the daughter of Anna, Esau's woman. These are the sons of Esau, who is Edom, and these are their dukes. These are the sons of Seir, the Horite, who inhabited the land: Lotan, and Shobal, and Sibon, and Anna, and Dishon, and Etzer, and Dishan. These are the dukes of the Horim, the children of Seir, in the land of Edom. And the children of Lotan were Horai and Hemam, and Lotan's sister was Timnah. And the children of Shobal were these: Alyan, and Manachat, and Ebal, and Shiphi, and Onam. And these are the children of Tzibon, both Ayah and Anah. This was that Anah that found the mules in the wilderness, as he fed the asses of Tzibon his father. And the children of Anah were these: Dishon, and Aholibama, the daughter of Anna. And these are the children of Dishon: Hemdan, and Eshban, and Yithron, and Cheran. The children of Etzer are these: Bilhan, and Zaavan, and Akan. The children of Dishon are these: Uts, and Aran. These are the dukes that came of the Horim: Duke Lotan, Duke Shobal, Duke Tzibon, and Duke Anna. Duke Dishon, Duke Etzer, Duke Dishan. These are the dukes that came of the Horite, among their dukes in the land of Seir. And these are the kings that reigned in the land of Edom, before there reigned any king over the children of Yasharel. And Bela, the son of Beor, reigned in Edom, and the name of his city was Dinhaba. And Bela died And Yobab, the son of Zerach of Botzra, reigned in his stead. And Yobab died. And Husham of the land of the Timani reigned in his stead. And Husham died. And Hadad, the son of Bedad, who smote Midian in the field of Moab, reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Abit. And Hadad died. And Samlah of Masrekah reigned in his stead. And Samlah died. And Shaul of Rehoboth by the river reigned in his stead. And Shaul died. And Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, reigned in his stead. And Baal Hanan, the son of Akbor, died. And Hadar reigned in his stead. And the name of his city was Pau. And his woman's name was Mechetabel, the daughter of Matred, the daughter of Me-Zachab. And these are the names of the dukes that came of Esau, according to their families, after their places, by their names: Duke Timnah, Duke Alia, Duke Yechet, Duke Oholibama, Duke Elah, Duke Pinon, Duke Kenaz, Duke Timan, Duke Mitzbar, Duke Magdiel, Duke Iram. These be the dukes of Edom, according to their habitations, in the land of their possession. He is Esau, the father of the Edomim. Did you catch it? We'll go over it in a second, but real quick, Genesis 36:33, and Bela died, and Yobab, or we would say Jobab, the son of Zerach of Botzra, reigned in his stead. According to the Septuagint, which I love the Septuagint. I don't think it's perfect. I think a true Berean uses the Masoretic and the Septuagint. The Septuagint is the Greek version of the scriptures, if you're not familiar. But at the end of the book of Job, in the Septuagint, it connects Genesis 36:33 and says that Job was initially called Jobab, the son of Zerach of Botzra. And so it seems pretty clear that Job was an Edomite who was a righteous man. Well, actually, another interesting connection here to how Yah even loved some of the sons of Esau. Even though he hated Esau, he loved some of the sons of Esau right here. And the sons of Eliphaz were, and this is the same Eliphaz who went to Job, by the way, Zepho, Gatam, and Kenaz. This would be written with a K, Kenaz. The Sefer spells things a little differently. So, but let's take a look at Kenaz. Kenaz are Kenazites. So right here it says, save Caleb, the son of Jephunneh, the Kenazite. The Kenazites are the descendants of Kenaz, which would be right here, Kenaz, again with a K, Kenaz. And so what am I getting at here? Caleb, Caleb and Joshua, one of the ones who ended up becoming the leader of Judah. It's, he was an Edomite, apparently, who, because of his faith, was not only grafted in, became a great leader of Israel. So pretty awesome, Kenaz. Okay, so now for the story that everyone knows, and these are the children of Zivon, both Aya and Anna. This was that Anna that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Zivon his father. You know that story, right? Right? Wait, right? So if you didn't know, I'm sorry. I feel like I need to fix something with this glare. I feel like when I look at you guys, you can't see my eyes. So here, when I look at you, the camera, I'll put my glasses up. And so this is a fascinating story, and the only place I've searched high and low, the only place, because it assumes you know this. You're like, oh yeah, this is that Anna that found the mules in the wilderness, that fed his ass. It assumes you know that, but does it strike you weird that there's no story about this anywhere in the 66 book canon? Not even the Apocrypha, not even Enoch. But there's one place this story is found. Let's read it. And by the way, the word here for mules is yamim. Yamim. It was only used this one time. Translators have no idea what to do with it. Meaning is uncertain. Perhaps meaning mules or hot springs. They have no clue. It's a word that was used one time in the scriptures. Let's read about the yamim. And we find this story. Oh, it just happens to be, so we're reading Genesis 36. It just happens to be in Jasher 36. Let's read Jasher 36, 28 through 35. And this is one of the weirdest stories I've ever read in the scriptures, and interesting. So it says here, and of the sons of Shobal were Alvan, Manathah, Ebal, Shepho, and Onam. The sons of Zibeon were Ajah and Anna. Oh, this was that Anna who found the Yemim. Remember? The word mules is the word Yemim, and there's a different word for a mule. So this is a specific word. So this was that Anna who found the Yemim in the wilderness when he fed the asses of Zibeon his father. We're definitely on the right track now. Remember, this was that Anna that found the mules in the wilderness as he fed the asses of Zibon his father. And whilst he was feeding his father's asses, he led them to the wilderness at different times to feed them. And there was a day that he brought them to one of the deserts on the seashore opposite the wilderness of the people. And whilst he was feeding them, behold, a very heavy storm came from the other side of the sea and rested upon the asses that were feeding there, and they all stood still. Okay, now, and afterward about 120 great and terrible animals came out from the wilderness at the other side of the sea, and they all came to the place where the asses were, and they placed themselves there. Here we go. And those animals from their middle downward were in the shape of the children of men, so they had normal legs. And from their middle upward, some had the likeness of bears. Whoa. Some had the likeness of the kephas, with the tails behind them from between their shoulders reaching down to the earth, like the tails of the Duchapath. And these animals came and mounted and rode upon these asses and led them away, and they went away to this day. And one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail, and then fled from that place. What is going on here? So hold on. So this man is feeding his father's donkeys, and then these half-man, half-animal hybrids, chimeras, obviously something's going on, DNA manipulation, come up and just jump on top of the donkeys and ride off in the sunset. You're like, okay. And then one comes up to him, smacks him with his tail, and runs away. And you're like, this is the craziest story I've ever heard in my life. I believe it's true, though. People are like, of course there's hybrids. Come on, let's talk about this. And anyways, it says, just to finish, so one of these animals approached Anna and smote him with his tail and then fled. So it's like, I can imagine like this creature walking up to him, looking him straight in the face, smacking him, and then running away. You're like, wow, crazy. And when he saw this work, he was exceedingly afraid of his life, and he fled and escaped to the city. And he related to his sons and his brothers all that had happened to him. And many men went to seek the asses, but could not find them. And Anna and his brother went no more to that place from that day following. Yeah, no kidding. For they were greatly afraid of their lives. So, anyways, yeah, that's the story in here. So just in case someone's ever like, I wonder who this Anna is with the mules. Don't know. You can show them. Praise Yah. But the reason I think this is important is a couple other stories. Jasher 4:16-18. We read this earlier in the Torah portions series, but it says, and all the sons of men departed from the ways of Yahweh in those days, as they multiplied upon the face of the earth with sons and daughters, and they taught one another their evil practices, and they continued sinning against Yahweh. And every man made himself an Elohim, and they robbed and plundered every man his neighbor as well as his relative, and they corrupted the earth, and the earth was filled with violence. And their judges and rulers went to the daughters of men and took their wives by force from their husbands according to their choice. And the sons of men in those days took from the cattle of the earth, the beasts of the field, and the fowls of the air, and taught the mixture of animals of one species with another, in order therewith to provoke Yahweh. And Elohim saw the whole earth, and it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted its way upon earth, all men and all animals. So there's DNA manipulation, and we know that's going on today. They're telling us about gene therapy. They're telling us about CRISPR technology, designer babies. They're talking about using, they're using pig hearts and putting it in men, and we're just doing all these things. They're completely out of Yah's order, and the reason this is important, let's keep reading. Enoch 7 says, and all the others together with them, this is the angels, took themselves wives, and each chose for himself one, and they began to go in unto them, and to defile themselves with them. And they taught them charms, and enchantments, and the cutting of roots, and made them acquainted with the plants. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants, whose height was 3,000 ells, who consumed all the acquisitions of men. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. And they began to sin against birds and beasts and reptiles and fish, and to devour one another's flesh and to drink the blood. Then the earth laid accusation against the lawless ones. So there's this teaching of the mixture of DNA. And so the angels mixed with man, and then the angels went ahead and mixed with animals, which I think is what created the dinosaurs and back in the day, these monstrous creatures that were just consuming people. But more so, I believe that we're in the days of Noah, because in the days of Noah, these things were going on, the DNA manipulation, the corruption of flesh. And so we're going to finish with this. Matthew 24, 36 through 51, but of that day and hour knows no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And we're learning what those things are. For as in the days of Noah that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and given in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then shall two be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. Two women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for you know not what hour your master does come. But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would have not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be you also ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man comes. Who then is a faithful and wise servant, whom his master has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season? Blessed is that servant, whom his master, when he comes, shall find so doing. Verily I say to you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. I think we all want to fit into this category. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my master delays his coming, he's not coming back right now. We got some time. We've got several years. We've got 30, 50 years. Yeah, right. And shall begin to smite his fellow servants, whoa, and to eat and to drink with the drunken, whoa. Then Yahweh, the master of that servant, shall come in a day when he looks not for him, and in an hour that he's not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. So the reason I bring this up is, of course, the DNA manipulation, what was going on in the days of Noah, are going on today. I'm sure there's a lot more that we don't even know of going on, of intermixing breeds or doing human animal hybrids. I think we're at a place. I think the enemy has done such a good job. I mean, they're getting people to question their gender and say, you know what, I don't think I was born this way, the right way, so I'm going to fix that and change their gender. If people are willing to change their gender, you don't think there's going to be people willing? Like if they came out with, hey, you know what? We can, we might not be able to change you into half lion, half man, but we can make children. We can make your children to be half. You don't think people would do that? Of course they would. Not a whole lot, maybe, but there may even be some of that stuff right now. We learned about it also in was it in Samuel or Chronicles? It talks about the lion men of Moab. I think they were literally part lion, part men. I don't know. But anyways, but even more applicable to our lives, talking about the people who smite their fellow servants. And this, people of Yah, you people who love his son and keep the commandments, we have got to stop the attacking of each other. The enemy is so good at getting us to fight each other, and he's like just laughing at us. He's got Yah's people just all turning on each other and exposing each other because we differ on some things. Like he says right here, Messiah says, those who smite their fellows. And I don't think this is talking about just, I'm going to slap you upside the head. No, I think this is like all a spiritual smiting. You can smite with your tongue. You can smite with your physically. And so, wow, a word of caution. If we are truly in the days that are like the days of Noah, we certainly don't want to be people who smite our fellow servants, whether that's physically, spiritually, through our words. And we also don't want to be gluttons and drunkards at his return as well. So just some admonition from your brother who loves you. So with that being said, let's pray and a couple announcements. And hey, if you want to meet Zacchaeus, you're gonna want to stick around till after the song. I'm gonna introduce you guys to Zacchaeus. Like I think one person at least commented last week and saw Zacchaeus at the end of the stream. I introduced him, so I'll do that again. So let's pray real quick. Father Yahweh, we just come before you and bless you in Yahushua's name. Father, we just ask that you would guide our steps and help us to neither go to the left or to the right of your commandments. Father, let us never depart from the love that you've shown us through Messiah Yahusha and his teachings. And Father, we just want to walk. We want to walk in your way. We want to bear the right fruit that you desire. We want to worship you in spirit and truth, Father. Not just because you said so, but because we want to. And Father, we thank you for giving us music to worship you with, Father, and praise you. And we just love you in Yahusha's name. Amen. Hallelujah. Shabbat shalom. Thank you for the Shabbat. So Hebrew Fest. Hebrew Fest. I was talking to Lyndon and my wife the other day, and I was like, Hebrew Fest is like a temporary, not fix or solution. Maybe a temporary solution for the calendar disagreements, because like there's many people I want to fellowship with, but we're on different calendars, so we don't get together for the same Passover or Sukkot and whatnot. But it's like, hey, Hebrew Fest is just a music festival. There's no calendar. Come on, let's fellowship together. So I invite you to come join us. Those of you that can't afford it, we have free tickets and free camping available. We do ask people that can't afford it not to abuse that, because stuff costs money and we've got to pay for it. So, but if you're like, hey, I want to come, but I don't have any money, hey, there's free tickets and there's free camping available. Just come. This people have accused us of this event being about money. It's not. It really is not. We just want to gather the brethren and show that unity in our disagreements is possible, as long as we can unite on the weightier matters. The Father, Messiah, the commandments. Sure, we may follow those commandments a little differently with our understanding. And that should be okay. And it's like, I have some really good friends that I love who do the lunar Sabbath. I don't think it's right, but they do with all their mind, and they're convinced in their mind that it's right, and they're serving Yah the best they can. Praise Yah. I love you. Anyways, so I'm gonna play a song, and I hope the song that I want is in here. And then afterwards, I'm going to introduce to you guys Zacchaeus. If you want to look up Hebrew Fest, just go to parableofthevineyard.com. There's a link there, or just go to hebrewfest.net, and you can find the information for that. So, let's see. You know what? Let's do this one. Praise Yah. All right, I'll see you with Zacchaeus after the song.
Ready for the change. Oh yeah, come lead the way to your holy place, where I know my heart will be laid bare before you. Oh Father, you see through all my insecurities that prove my lack of faith towards you. Oh Father, do what you please. I want nothing but your spirit and truth. Oh yeah, you're all I need. I believe nothing can stop you. I'm on my knees. Oh Father, Yah, will you lead me to your holy place? Take everything. Oh yeah, I'm on my face singing. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Oh yeah, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you to show me the way. Father, do what you please. I want nothing but your spirit and truth, oh yeah. You're all I need. I believe nothing can stop you, oh Father, do what you please. I want nothing but your spirit and truth, oh yeah. You're all I need. I believe nothing can stop you. I'm on my knees. Oh Father, I will you lead me to your holy place. Take everything. Oh yeah, I'm on my face singing. Oh, I'm on my knees. Oh Father, I will you lead me to your holy place. Take everything. Oh yeah, I'm on my face singing. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Oh yeah, I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. I'll wait for you. Just show me the way. So show me the way. Yeah, you show me the way. Oh yeah, we'll wait for you. Oh, we'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. Oh yeah, we'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. Yes, we'll wait. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. Yeah. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you. We'll wait for you to show us the way.
Uh-oh. Hold on. I don't know what happened to my camera. Let me try this again. Nope. Huh. Well, I guess Zacchaeus is not meant to be seen? Hold on. Hold on. Zacchaeus, what's going on here? That doesn't work. It's not working. It is just not working. Hang on, y'all. I'm gonna try something else. Oh. Aha. Aha. You get to see me with the green screen. Hold on. Oh, look, because he's the same color as my green screen. It doesn't show up. How funny. Look, this is a chameleon. How funny. Here, let me do it without the green screen. You can't even see him. How funny. I mean, how do I turn the green screen off? I love this animal, by the way. Okay. Here we go. I love when he changes colors. He the other day he looked like camouflage, like military camouflage. Where are you going, Zacchaeus? Look at him. Look at him. He's looking at me. His eyes are looking behind him. He's like, "Are you still there or what?" Anyways, it's amazing. His tongue, when he gets the bug, his tongue just like almost goes as long as his body to get it, and it's like deadly accuracy. Come here, buddy. Come here. Don't be shy. Zacchaeus is a chameleon, and he's awesome. Because Yah made him. All right. Shabbat shalom, y'all.